My dear friends, I hope you're doing fantastic. I want to welcome you, want to celebrate you, want to pat you on the shoulder, give you a high five, cheer you on. Thank you for joining this video and really taking time from your day to study, to improve yourself. I know that from getting around the like-minded people, from getting around people who think in a similar way, we improve. We get better, we get ideas, and sometimes it is just being, hey, proactive about where we want to go and feeling down and then watching something and feeling better about ourselves just by doing the work. And today I want to talk to you about the topic of embracing the struggle and really embracing the ebbs and flows of life. I really call these the hidden gems and hidden opportunities. And I have 3 points for you today. Three. I think that everybody's different, everybody's unique, everybody has a different way of dealing with things. And I wish I would actually take this on a bit earlier in my career. We all have regrets, so do I. One thing that I not regret, but I look at it more actually persuasively and more determined is dealing with myself in general, dealing with what's going on here and what's going on here in the head, what's going on in my life, how I'm handling different situations. Is it from the habit? Is it from based on experience? Is it because I heard it or I learned it from somewhere? I wish I would be more proactive about this a bit earlier. And one thing why I'm saying this, I see the difference where years ago I would just deal with things because of habit, because how I learned to do it. Especially if you are an expat, again, to set the stage, you might have a little bit, not to compare, harder life than people who never moved out of the country. Why is that? Because you learn new language, you learn new culture, you learn new rules. You need to actually integrate in a new culture and take it even further. You need to sustain yourself, right? You need to get a job, you need to perhaps find a partner, and you communicate in different language. All these little nitty gritty things actually create a substance, if you call it, for disaster if not managed actively. All these things are different little moving pieces and puzzles that might throw you out of your situation, out of the way where you're going. And the thing is, if you are already busy, let's put it like that, you're already busy with these moving pieces, and you're like, okay, you never take time to think about why you're dealing with these things like that. You just go and learn, and kind of learn on the job, if you will. The thing is, sometimes it pans out when we think why and how and what methodologies we are using to cope with different situations. If we go through a breakup, or if we are fired, or if we actually get a promotion and are suddenly in this leadership role and nobody taught us how to lead, those are different tools. And sometimes, and this is also why I want to give you the point number one, is really think about where you come from. What's the history? What's the baggage you're bringing with you into the new country? What set of tools, not just to call it a baggage, what set of tools you're bringing with you? How did your parents handle divorce? How did your parents handle the fact that they are 25 or 30 years together? Or how did you handle to build a great relationship with your loved one, or perhaps, or with your spouse or your brother or sister? Or perhaps on the opposite, you don't have such great relationships with your loved ones, with your friends, and you bring that into work, and you wonder why your relationships, why you're a bad leader. And that's why I encourage you to deal with history. For me, dealing with history came through journaling. So I like to write stuff down. I like to think about, okay, where I come from, where I'm going. I like to do this exercise, often looking back the last 10 years and doing the, every year a little milestone. What were the memorable things I learned that I achieved? But also think, okay, what were the challenges? Maybe you then don't go that far because you don't remember all those things, but think actively how you're building yourself up. I want you to think about getting a coach. one thing that helped me a lot in my life is really being proactive in getting a perspective. And it means just like, you're there, you might be sitting next to me. So please feel like you're sitting next to me, getting a third perspective, this bird's eye view, mountain view, we need now more than ever, because we are so myopic with all these daily things. And sometimes problems like this become problems like this just because we never learn to get a perspective. We always think from the history lens and from how we used to deal with it. And then somebody else comes with a different tool, says, hey, by the way, for the relationships, you guys don't need to argue, just ask questions. Just be a bit more patient before you speak. Listen. But we never learned that because our parents perhaps always argued, and we just take that into our current relationships. So, having a mentor, having a coach is something I wish I would have done way earlier. I'm speaking honestly here. This is something we all should do. Actually, have our therapist, have our coaches, have our mentors. Perhaps we all do in some kind of way, but I think being more aware of it, that say, okay, it's not to bemoan or to make us feel less about ourselves, to make us actually stronger down the line. So sometimes it is going and stepping back into where we want to go. And the third and final point, guys, I want to give you, it's going from survival to thriving. Living abroad brings with it a myriad of challenges, responsibilities, pains, and as I call it, the ebbs and flows. You build relationships, you lose relationships, you people move, you move, and people become distant. It's this constant changing environment which is super hard. It's super hard on us. And even if we don't realize it, we might feel a bit challenged. We might feel like, yeah, I've been there. I've done that. Sometimes we might become a bit more habitual in doing these things just because we want to survive. But I want to encourage you as well, because living abroad is hard on its own, to think about how you can thrive. How you can thrive in an environment where you used to just survive, but now maybe you develop more comprehensive understanding of how to deal with the nuances, how to deal with yourself. And you use this to build this understanding about people, about yourself, and also strategies. So you can really overcome this. You can overcome this and be a more intuitive with how you are and how you deal with all these different things around you, and how to slowly, consistently move yourself into this new environment, and really start thriving in a way. And this takes courage again. It takes really guts to deal with the discomfort and with the all dust and you know covered corners somewhere in the back of our mind and our lives, and maybe realizing, hey, the strategies we use now will not serve me in the next 10 years. I cannot get angry every time some team member doesn't show up. There has to be some consequences. So I need to speak up. So learn new strategies, new things, and that again comes with thinking where you come from, what heritage, what tools you have built, then getting a mentor, perhaps getting a coach, and then really going from active decision to, I don't want to survive anymore. I want to thrive. I want to go from here to there. I don't want to just, all the time have this cramp in my stomach and, this stone in my chest and feel like, ooh, this is, of course, it's challenging, but you need to lean in. You need to lean forward and say, I will figure this out. I can do this. I'm strong enough. I'm confident. So, guys, I want to challenge you today. Evaluate yourself. One, being horrible, and 10 being amazing. Where are you at these three things? Where are you at? Are you really thriving? Are you dealing with yourself already? Are you writing stuff down, journaling? Have you hired a coach? Have you hired a mentor? If not, it's time. And it's time to go from survival to thriving. Do you feel like there are some areas in your life where you try to get by, where you got try to make the ends meet? Or is there an area where you actually could piggyback on and say, oh, I'm here, I'm already doing quite well, how can I use it also here? Learn about yourself. Make sure you manage your energy, because energy is anything. Without energy, you can't get anything else done. So make sure you eat healthy, you exercise, you read good stuff, and you really manage your thoughts. Manage stress as well, because without, stress, oh, we could really live a bit better when we have it under control, when we use adrenaline to our advantage rather than just letting stress build, anxieties and panic attacks and all these different things, and lead a heroic life. Leading a heroic life requires guts, energy, consistency, and heroism. So until the next time, looking forward to see you soon again. Be awesome.